My CIS midterm project, I decided to do some analysis related to the cybersecurity topic since there has been some major data breaches this year and I find this stuff to be concerning. It was pretty difficult to find details for all the data breaches that occurred since it is a quite sensitive topic and some organizations actually try to hide the breach incidents from the public. As such, I was only able to find some basic information regarding disclosed data breaches, such as the number of records breached, the date it was disclosed to the public, the organization type, and the type of breach. I also wanted to find the financial impact of each incident, but this attribute was unavailable and I couldn't find it. My assumption is that this is probably very difficult to estimate, as the financial impact can continue to increase over time. I would also keep in mind that this probably goes the same for the reported number of records breached, especially for the more recent incidents. The numbers could probably increase over time. For my project, I'm going to first talk about the data breaches over the past few years, and then the cyber insurance industry. So here, this is the data that I worked with, and it was downloaded from Privacy Rights Clearinghouse, a nonprofit organization with a mission to engage, educate, and empower consumers to protect their privacy. This is the data I started with, and it includes data breaches from 2014 through about mid-September of 2017 when I started working on this project. For my analysis, I removed the unknowns and blanks from all the columns. To prepare the data for analysis, I used various functions such as text to columns, trim, sort, and find and replace. I started with about 2,500 records, and I was left with about 1,800 records after cleaning up the data. To start, I wanted to see which locations had the most records breached. Now, it doesn't mean that the breach incident only affected people in that location. That's just where the breach occurred. It could have, and most likely did, affect people all over the US. So first I used the sort function to get the top 100 incidents, and then I used the pivot table to add up the records breached by location. We can see that the data I'm working with is primarily in the US, and California is at the top of the list. This is probably because a lot of tech and internet companies are located in Cali. And if we look at the top 10 records breached, there's Yahoo, FriendFinder, MySpace, eBay, and LinkedIn here. They're all located in California. Next, with the data from the Clean tab from before, the Clean Data tab here, I created a dashboard to explore which organizational types had the most records breached and how those records were breached. The two pie charts on the top here are connected to the slicer on the left. Although the pie charts are currently showing the percentages for 2014 through September 2017, we can use a slicer to see what the numbers look like for each year or a combination of years. And the beauty of the slicer is that it can be updated. It can be used to update both graphs at the same time. Overall, we can see that the businesses experience the most data breaches, and they are usually due to hacking or malware and unintended disclosure. The graph on the lower left corner compares the number of records breached, the blue here, to the number of times a breach occurred. the red line. From this relationship, we can see that in 2014 and 15, it took more incidents to create a smaller number of records breached when compared to 2016 and 17. In 2014, it took about 560 incidents to breach about 1.3 billion records, but if we look at 2016, it only took a little more than 600 incidents to breach about 2.6 billion records. That's almost double the reach. In 2017, it only took 262 incidents to breach about 1.8 billion records. And let's keep in mind that the year is not even over yet. The graph to the right shows how the average number of records breached over time is increasing, and it has an upward trend. So if we think about what this means, the two graphs on the bottom are suggesting that data breaches are getting more advanced and sophisticated. Although the number of records breached is not the only factor that makes an incident high risk, it does give us some indication of how severe the breach was. So how are organizations reacting to this? There are probably multiple ways companies can prepare themselves for cyber risk. They can invest in better technology, hire cybersecurity specialists, buy insurance, and much more. But since I work at an insurance company at the moment, I decided to do some analysis to see how the cyber insurance market has changed over the past 2 years. I made two graphs based on the collected data from a biannual cyber insurance market watch survey conducted by the Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers. Between October 2015 and April 2017, there has been an upward trend for purchasing cyber insurance. About 33% of the organizations surveyed have insurance as of April 2017. And the coverage has also been experiencing an upward trend. If we also look at the policy limits on the right here, meaning the maximum amount of money that you can possibly recover from the insurance company when something bad happens, the average doubled over the last 6 months, from $6 million to $3 million. It's also interesting to see that despite the demand for insurance, that premium prices have actually decreased for some of the companies that were counted in this survey. Most recently, in April 2017, 31% of the companies said that they have actually experienced a decrease in their premium prices. The cost of cyber insurance is actually decreasing. This means that it's a good time for organizations to buy more cyber insurance. So for the most part, we've been looking at US data. In this tab, let's take a look at what the cyber insurance looks like on a global basis. North America is at the top, with 68% of the companies having purchased cyber insurance, while Latin America is coming in at the bottom. In between, we have Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa, and also Europe. Last but not least, this tab shows which industries purchase the most cyber insurance. The education industry comes in at the top with 68% of the industry having purchased insurance, followed by the government, insurance, investment, and finance industries, and then everybody else. So what are the key takeaways here? Data breaches have been increasing and getting more advanced, at least in terms of their reach. And then, organizations in North America have been responding by buying more cyber insurance, expanding coverage, and as well as increasing policy limits. Thank you.